Today I'm going to show you how I level and dress the frets when we build these guitars. And I'm going to go through the process. This works for me. There's many ways to do it, but this works for me. So first thing I'm going to do is take the ends of the frets and I'm going to put a 45-degree bevel on each end. I'm going to do that in a very consistent manner. I'm going to go through with this file that has the side of the file ground down so it doesn't mar the surface of the fretboard. And here we go. I'm going to do this very consistently. My objective is to make each of the ends identical. I would like the guitar's frets to be absolutely consistent up and down the fretboard. So now I'm going to use this very nice tool from StuMac. It's a diamond file. It's got a concave race in there. And what we're going to do now is go down each of the ends of the frets, and we're going to put a nice round hemisphere on the end of each fret. Starting here at about this angle, then I'm rotating through like this. I'm listening to the sound that the file makes as I go across, and you can tell when it's reached its limit. It stops filing aggressively. At that point, I stop, move on to the next fret. I've reassembled the guitar, put the neck onto the body, put the strings onto the neck, brought it up to tension, although the guitar isn't in tune, but it's close to tension. What that does is it produces any bow that in the neck that the guitar will experience as it's being played. The next thing we're going to do is level the frets, and I've got this tool that I've made. It's made from a piece of angled aluminum with a piece of sandpaper, or here I have a diamond file that I've scrounged and taped to the bottom of this. And then a convenient handle so that my hand doesn't get hurt. And what we're going to do is we're going to run this up and down the fretboard with the strings on it, and that is going to level the frets out. And the technique that I use is I start from one end with the tool underneath two strings, and I run it back and forth up to the first fret, but not over the first fret. And back and forth like this. And I'll do this until it runs nice and smooth. If it goes clickety-clack, a little clickety-clack there. If it goes clickety-clack, that means the fret is out of truth. So we'll run this up and down several times. Then I'll take it and I'll slide it under the next two strings. Actually slide it up one string and then under two strings. So now I'm under the A string and the D string. And I do this again. And I'll go and I'll do the next set of strings. And the next set of strings. Now we have preconditioned this fretboard, so I'm running through this very quickly. But this is the idea. Up and down the fretboard, all the way in nice even strokes until it runs nice and smooth. Then I turn it around and come back and do the same thing in the opposite direction with the tool sliding under the first string first and then the second string. And the reason I do this is there's a little bit of bias because this thing is L-shaped instead of T-shaped. So this will make sure that the frets are getting an even amount of fretwork on each pass. And after a little bit of labor, these frets are true. And we can go up and down the fretboard and we can check for any buzzing. And check each fret. Ooh, isn't that nice? Now, if we should find some buzzing, let's say we had some buzzing at this fret right here. Instead of taking the strings off and trying to rework it, what we can do is just go under here and work that one fret in that one area. The advantage of this is it doesn't work just the one fret. If that fret were high, it would level that down, and it would level out any other frets in the area that needed to be leveled to make it consistent. So we do a little bit like that, and we can go back and start to check for any buzzing again. This works very quickly and is quite effective. So now the next thing we want to do is make these frets nice and shiny so that when we slide the strings on them, there's no scratching, and we would like the fretboard to be pretty. So we're pretty confident now that the frets are leveled. We've got the ball ends on the frets, and now we're going to crown the frets and polish them up. So we'll scrape off all of the gunk that we've left on the fretboard over time, and I'm going to use this paint scraper to do that. Nice and simple. Starting to bring out that beautiful wood. These frets have been leveled and have some very serious scratches going in this direction, and we would like to get rid of all of the scratches. And so to do that and to crown the top of the fret, because we have leveled it off and it's somewhat flat, we're going to use this diamond file again from Stumac. And it's a simple process of going back and forth like this. And we do this until the scratches, which if we catch the light just right, all start to go in this direction. So it'll look like there's a line that's slowly disappearing as we sand it down. Okay, as I'm filing these down and putting the crown on it, they're shaped like this right now, with a flat top. What I'm doing is I'm rounding it off. So as I round it off like this, we'll get a line that runs right down the top of the fret. When that line just disappears, we know we've gone long enough. Okay, now we crowned all the frets, but they're still rather rough, so we need to make these nice and shiny. We're going to do that using power tools. First thing we're going to do is we're going to run over the whole fretboard with 240 grit Abernet sandpaper. And I think any sandpaper would work. What I'm doing on this is a little bit special. As I'm moving back and forth like this, what I'm trying to do is just catch the tops of these frets so that it brings the scratches, takes all of the scratches that are there and brings them down to 240. But I don't want to go too far. I don't want to work the frets any more than I absolutely have to. As I'm doing this, I'm sanding the fretboard and I'm just raking over the tops of the frets. First I'm going to go in this direction. I'm going to go all the way down, and then I'm going to come back in this direction, catching the corners of the frets with the edge of the sandpaper. Now we've deposited a significant amount of material on the fretboard while we've been sanding away, and so we're going to clean that up using a little bit of furniture oil. In this case, this is Watco Danish oil finish. I believe any oil finish would probably work just as well. I put a liberal amount, but not an excessive amount, all over the fretboard and work it in. You can see it's pulling up quite a bit of stuff. So we're finished. The fretboard is nice and leveled and should play like a dream. That's the way I do it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've got something that you can take away from it. Thanks. See you later.